The moment Princess Leonor stepped out this week with that calm military posture, that sharper confidence, and that look that said, "I know the whole world is watching," something changed. Not officially, not politically, but emotionally. And honestly, I think people felt it immediately. Because this is no longer just about a princess growing up. This is about a future queen becoming impossible to ignore. And the craziest part, the Spanish monarchy may not even fully understand why people are suddenly so obsessed with her. While Prince William and Kate Middleton are still representing that polished, traditional royal image in Britain, Leonor feels different. Less scripted, less protected, more real. And in 2026, that matters more than perfection. People don't just want royalty anymore. They want presence. They want pressure. They want someone who feels human while carrying something historic on their shoulders. And Leonor, she's become that person almost by accident. Because if you really pay attention, this isn't happening because of one speech, one outfit, or one viral military clip. It's happening because audiences are watching a transformation in real time. And honestly, I think that's why people can't stop clicking on her videos right now. Not because she's trying to become famous, but because she looks like someone trying to survive being watched by the entire world. And that changes everything. Now here's what I noticed that nobody is really talking about. A few years ago, most headlines around Leonor felt cautious. Safe. Almost overly controlled. Every public appearance looked carefully measured. The palace wanted stability. No risks. No emotional cracks. But lately, you can feel a shift. The military training changed her public image completely. Not just physically, mentally. You can literally see it in the way she walks now. The way she listens before speaking. The way she handles uncomfortable attention. And I know some people will say, well, obviously, she's older now. But I don't think it's that simple. Because growing older doesn't automatically create presence. Pressure does. Responsibility does. And I think Spain is starting to see that. If you're new to Leonor's story, subscribe. I post every day. Because what's happening around her right now is bigger than celebrity gossip. It's bigger than royal fashion. We're watching a real-time transition from protected royal daughter into future national figure. And whether people love monarchies or hate them, that transformation is fascinating. Now here's my personal take. I actually think the palace accidentally created the perfect modern royal narrative. Not intentionally, accidentally, because Leonor's story now feels less like a fairy tale and more like a coming-of-age documentary happening in front of millions of people. And audiences connect with that. Look at social media right now. The clips people replay the most are never the perfectly staged moments. It's always the small things. A nervous glance, a serious expression, a quick smile after military exercises, a tired face after long ceremonies. Those tiny moments are what people remember because they feel unscripted. And honestly, in a world where almost every celebrity feels overmanaged, Leonor's restraint actually makes her more interesting. It creates mystery. You start wondering, what is she really thinking? How much pressure is she actually under? Does she enjoy this life, or simply accept it? And the palace never answers those questions directly, which makes people even more obsessed. Now compare that to how internet culture works in 2026. Everything is loud, everything is instant, everyone is trying to go viral every 5 minutes. Mr. Beast understands this better than almost anyone. Attention today comes from emotional connection, not just spectacle. And weirdly enough, Leonor's strongest moments aren't viral in the traditional sense. They're emotionally sticky. People don't just watch once. They replay, they analyze, they discuss. That's a completely different kind of influence. And honestly, it's more powerful long-term, because the audience begins to feel personally invested in her future. Now here's where I think things get even deeper. The Spanish monarchy itself is quietly entering a dangerous phase. Not dramatic dangerous, relevance dangerous. That's the real challenge modern monarchies face now. Not survival, attention. And I think the royal family knows Leonor has become their strongest bridge to younger generations. You can see it in how often her military journey is highlighted. How carefully her public appearances are handled. How much focus there is on discipline, preparation, sacrifice. They're building an image that says, she's not just symbolic. She's working for this. And honestly, that strategy is smart. Because modern audiences don't respect titles automatically anymore. People want earned credibility. That's why Leonor training in military environments became such a huge turning point online. Not because people suddenly became obsessed with military routines, but because effort is attractive now. Discipline is attractive now, especially in an era where so many public figures look manufactured. And I think viewers subconsciously compare her to other young elite figures around the world. Some influencers feel temporary, some celebrities feel replaceable, but Leonor feels tied to history. That creates emotional weight. Now let me say something slightly controversial. I actually think the media sometimes misunderstands why her popularity is growing. A lot of headlines focus on beauty, elegance, royal fashion. But I honestly believe people are watching for emotional tension. That's the real engine here. Because viewers sense the contradiction in her life. She's young, but carrying ancient expectations. She's globally recognized, but personally restricted. She's admired, but constantly evaluated. And the audience feels that pressure through the screen. That's why even simple clips of her walking somewhere suddenly get millions of views. People aren't just watching a person. They're watching responsibility happen in real time. And honestly, that can become addictive content. Now another thing nobody says out loud. Leonor benefits massively from contrast. Look at the royal landscape right now. Prince Harry and Meghan created one kind of modern royal narrative: rebellion, separation, independence. Prince William and Kate represent stability and continuity. But Leonor sits in this unusual middle ground. She feels modern, without rejecting tradition. And that balance is extremely rare. Especially with younger audiences. Because younger viewers usually reject institutions completely unless they see authenticity inside them. Leonor somehow gives them both. Institution and vulnerability, structure and humanity. And honestly, that's probably why international audiences are suddenly paying attention to. Even people outside Spain are becoming curious about her. Not because they care deeply about Spanish politics, but because her story feels cinematic. A young woman preparing for one of the most visible roles in Europe while still trying to look emotionally normal. That's compelling, and I think the palace understands something very important now. Leonor cannot just be royal. She has to feel emotionally readable. That's the future of monarchy in the internet era. Not distance, connection. Now personally, I think the next 2 years are going to define everything for her public image. Because right now she still has something incredibly powerful: curiosity. People are still discovering her. And curiosity creates momentum, but maintaining that attention, that's much harder. Especially when the internet eventually demands more access, more emotion, more personality. The real question is, can Leonor stay mysterious without becoming emotionally distant? Because if she becomes too polished, people lose interest. But if she becomes too exposed, she loses the royal mystique that makes her unique. That balance is incredibly difficult. And honestly, I don't envy her at all. Because imagine being in your 20s while every expression becomes international analysis. Every smile becomes a headline. Every friendship becomes speculation. Every silence becomes a theory. That level of scrutiny changes people. And maybe that's another reason audiences are fascinated. People can sense that she's adapting in real time. Now here's my final thought. I don't think everyone is watching Princess Leonor because she's perfect. I think everyone is watching because she feels unfinished. And I mean that in the best possible way. People are witnessing someone still becoming who they're supposed to be. That's rare today. Most public figures arrive fully branded, fully marketed, fully predictable. Leonor still feels like a story unfolding. And humans are naturally drawn to unfinished stories. Especially ones carrying this much pressure, symbolism, and expectation. So when people ask, why is everyone suddenly watching Princess Leonor? I honestly think the answer is simple. Because for the first time in a long time, a royal figure feels less like a distant symbol, and more like a real person walking directly into history while the entire world watches in silence.